চিত্ত যেথা ভয় শূন্য, উচ্চ যেথা শির, জ্ঞান যেথা মুক্ত, যেথা গৃহের প্রাচীর। আপন প্রাঙ্গণ তলে দিবস সর্বরী, বসুধারে রাখে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি।
The Indian subcontinent at the time was a place with conflicting ideologies but uniting expressions. It was a place with social differences but dignity for all. Our cultural distinctiveness bound us together as a nation. Everyone was looked upon as one, irrespective of the infinite diversity.
In such a time of uncertainty, the perception of India through the lens of creatives were often expressed through a divine feminine figure, a mother. She was often perceived as a beautiful amalgamation of simplicity and complexity.
Another commonality that drew the attention of the artist was the struggle for freedom. While artists across India were in a slow but gradual process of renouncing European academia, the nationalist movement was gaining serious leverage around the subcontinent.
This was abundantly highlighted through the works of a number of Bengali artists, most notable of which is Bharat Mata by Abanandanath Thakur. Students of the Bengal School of Art in Shantiniketan like Ramkinkar Beys and sculptors Chittaprasad Bhattacharya and Somnath Kaur witnessed the Bengal famine of 1943 firsthand, reflections of which are evident in their work.
Carrying this view forward of rejecting the West, the Madras art movement was initiated by Devi Prasad Roy Chaudhary, the modern artist from Bengal, who took charge as the principal of Madras School of Arts and Crafts. K.S. Panikkar, another visionary, prompted his students to ask themselves, why should we look towards the West to seek inspiration for the visual language? Why can't we go back in our tradition, rejuvenate it, reinvent it, and represent it through the artist's modern sensibilities?
The Madras movement was set apart from the Bombay Progressives, who had resisted a return to tradition. The Bombay Progressive Art Group looked towards the European modernist as the Cubist, Expressionist, and abstract artists to establish their brand of modernism. It was a clique of young artists who wished to break with the nationalist traditions established by the Bengal School of Art and to encourage an Indian avant-garde engaged at an international level.
Amidst the bustle of complementing and often contrasting art styles, creative explorations had a few things in common. Representing and recreation of Puranic styles and mythology was a constant, often complemented with scenes from everyday life.
Amrita Shergill became deeply moved by the plight of unprivileged people she met along the way. This propelled a dramatic shift in her visual language and subject matter. She started using a palette saturated with intense red, ochre, browns, yellows, and greens, depicting her land and its people, giving voice and validity to their experiences.
The relationship between cinema and nationalism was properly cemented with the making of the feature film Raja Harish Chandra and the film Shri Krishna Janam by Dada Saheb Phalke. He was inspired by Raja Ravi Verma and his painting. While there were tensions in British India in the early 20th century, Hindi cinema reflected alternative perspective of Indian communities. The Progressive Writers Association and Indian People's Theatre Association sought to spread the message of communal harmony through film.
In stark contrast to these efforts of bringing together the nation as one, the British had been having a field day with the notorious divide and rule policy.
Subsequently, architecture also became a tool for the British to establish their dominance over the subcontinent. Numerous European countries had already left architecture styles reflective of their ancestral and adopted homes, which symbolized their mission of conquest dedicated to the state or religion.
British architects like George Whitted, Frederick Stevens traveled around India and got inspired by its vivid architecture. There was an innovation of a new style called Indo-Saracenic. It drew elements from native Indo-Islamic and Indian architecture and combined them with Gothic revivalist and neoclassical styles favored in Britain, like the Napier Museum, which was a mixture of Indo-Saracenic as well as various architectural styles and was built to promote native art of Kerala.
The deep-rooted sentiments of the soil, mixed with the fresh wave of ideas, led to the germination of new visions of portraying the struggles and aspiration of a newly formed nation and its people. There has been an evolution in the context and in turn in the creative expressions of artists, and this, we believe, will go on perpetually.